So you want to get to $15,000 a month. Maybe you constantly see those influencers online living a life that you can only dream of, while you're still struggling and working a dead-end job that you hate. If you know me, then you'll know I went from being broke, depressed just a couple years ago to now running a profitable online business and loving my life. And that's exactly why in this video, I'm going to share with you the 7 habits that will allow you to 10x your life and business and get to $15,000 a month. All of that in record time. Habit 1. Mindful consumption. Nowadays, most people do most things in a way which is completely depleted of any mindfulness. What I mean is that, for instance, most people, what's the first thing they do when they wake up? They grab their phone, they open up some social media app, like let's say Instagram or worse TikTok, and they start scrolling, mindlessly consuming content. But how does it help them to improve their lives? It doesn't. So not only is it a waste of time, but it's programming your brain to look for more quick, easy rushes of dopamine, as opposed to doing the hard things, to being able to focus on things for long periods of time, to build a thriving business, or to build a strong muscular physique, to finally be in a relationship. It's going to take time, effort, and perseverance. You'll often have to do things that you don't feel like doing, things that are quite boring, and if you can't get yourself to do those things because you fried your brain with so much instant gratification, then you'll never get what you want. Truth is, most people are going to go to university or they go to a job, and while they're physically present, they're not mentally present. They're going to be daydreaming about the sort of life that they want to have desperately, or they're going to be thinking about what they're going to have for lunch, or obsessing over the video game they're going to play right after they're done with school. Like I said, the issue is that a lack of mindfulness is destroying your ability to pay attention and to focus. And guess what? If you want to build a profitable online business, you'll need to be able to focus deeply for long periods of time. This is why you want to implement mindfulness in your everyday life, and especially mindful consumption. First, you want to limit your social media use, because honestly, it's not going to improve your life in any way. Now, I'm not talking about educational YouTube videos like this one, but I'm speaking specifically about things like Snapchat, TikTok, or Instagram, because these are killing your attention span. You're constantly being bombarded with notifications, you're being fed short tidbits of contents that don't really add any value to your life. Honestly, 90% of the time, you should only use social media, and in fact, the internet as well, to educate yourself or to build your business. The remaining 10% of the time, if you want to go watch funny memes, watch movies, it's completely fine. Just make sure that the ratio is more oriented towards producing as opposed to mindlessly consuming pointless things. Then when you do consume content on social media, do it with intent. Don't just browse the app endlessly without actually knowing what you're looking for. And when you are watching educational content, just like this video, have a notebook and a pen handy, or open up a Notion tab on your browser to take some notes, because plenty of content is available for free on the internet, on social media, yet most people are simply going to watch it, consume it, but to entertain themselves, not to actually learn something and then implement it in their life or business. And I can guarantee that by the time you're done watching this video, you will have already forgotten 80% of what we're talking about. Habit number 2, deep work. One day I realized I could do in 2 to 4 hours a day what it takes most people 8 hours to do. And I'm not the one making this up. Many studies have shown, if you do a quick Google search, you'll see that most people on the average 8-hour workday, they're only really getting work done, being productive, for 2 to 4 hour stops. So this means that you can cut your work hours in half most of the time and get more done than most people would in double that amount of time. So now the question is, how do you do deep work? You need to remove all distractions, all temptations from your environment. Because what kills deep work, what interrupts the state of flow that you're in, it's interruptions, distractions. The first thing is that you don't want to have any clutter on your desk or in front of you. The reason being, it's going to distract you. If you are trying to complete a task, which is difficult, you have your phone, let's say, right in front of you. Even if it's not constantly buzzing with notifications, just because it's there, you'll be tempted to use it. And your phone is always going to give you greater dose of dopamines than simply doing the boring work at your computer. So for that reason, on your desk, you only want to have the things that you need to use right now to complete the task at hand. That's why you remove all temptations and you can get your work done peacefully. Remember that if something is out of sight, it's out of mind as well. Then you want to use a comfortable position. Like, plenty of people are going to buy an inexpensive office chair, but they don't realize just how crucial the position that you're in when you're working actually is. Something that you can do is to have a desk that allows you to stand while working, and then you can position it lower so that you can sit and work. So depending on the sort of work that you're doing, it's great to alternate between standing and sitting. If you can't do this, it's not the end of the world. In fact, the desk I'm having right now, it's not even a standing desk. In fact, it's a table. But you want to make sure that you are working in a comfortable position. If you're all hunched over, at some point your back is going to hurt. And so now, instead of being able to focus on your work, you'll be focused on the pain in your lower back. Then you want to have a water bottle next to you, and if you're using a laptop, you want to make sure that it's plugged in. The reason being, if you can't constantly need to get up, to go get your charger, to go make yourself a cup of tea, to go get some water, it's going to prevent you from getting into a state of flow, which is crucial to be able to do deep focused work. Something I like to do as well is to have a notepad and a pen right next to me on my desk, so that whenever something comes up, let's say I get an idea, I can just grab my notebook and simply write it down. Because the thing that you need to realize is that what steals away your time and your focus from you, it's not actually what you would think. There's this concept called death by 1,000 cuts. You would think that the reason you died is because of this big wound, but what if it was all the other small wounds that actually added up and in fact killed you? When it comes to productivity, it's literally the same thing. You might think that you're not productive because you watch, let's say, an hour or two of TV per day, but the real reason why you're not productive is because when you sit down at your desk, there's co-workers or people in your environment making noise, knocking at your door, coming to speak to you, or it's because you constantly get up to go to the bathroom, to go get some tea, to go get a charger, or because you grab your phone, you respond to a text, then you put it back, you try and work again. So as you can see, it's an endless cycle, and then no wonder why you're not productive and you're not getting anything done. Now you've got to understand that your ability to do cognitively demanding work in a given day, it's actually limited. Unfortunately, you can't spend 8 hours a day doing deep, productive, focused work. It would be too good to be true. We are humans. We have only so much energy and so many available cognitive resources in a given day. And if you look at most jobs anyway, most people are present physically for around 8 hours, but they're not actually working for 8 hours. And of course, it depends on the profession. If you work in an emergency room, then yeah, you're going to be a lot busier than somebody else. Now, before you do a deep work session, you need to set a goal. Ask yourself, what do I want to achieve? What do I want to complete? If you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know what you're aiming for, how can you even know if you're making progress? You need to set a goal before a deep work session. It's crucial. Then when you're ready to begin, you want to set a timer. I usually aim for 45 minutes. Sometimes I'm going to aim for 50 minutes. Then when my session is complete, I'm taking a 5 to 15 minute break, and then I can do another deep work session again. Now the ideal is that during your break you don't go and check your phone, because it's easy to, let's say, you see a text message, you answer, and then an entire conversation starts. It's better if you just go make yourself a cup of tea, go to the restroom, go outside, breathe in the fresh air, do something which is not going to hyper-stimulate your mind. Or like I said, turn into a 3-hour long conversation with somebody. Habit 3. Build up the winner effect. The winner effect comes from the phenomenon that scientists have studied by looking at animals. By winning fights against weaker opponents, the animals were more likely to win fights against even stronger opponents. So how does this even apply to us? You see, every small win actually accumulates to turn into a big win. Going to the gym today, completing one deep work session today, it might not seem like it's that much, but if you do it 365 times, you've done it for an entire year. It's insane. The results produced by those actions is going to be phenomenal. Now, how do you actually build up the winner effect in practice? It's actually quite simple. By celebrating the daily wins. You went to the gym today? Great. That's a win. You did a deep work session? Great. That's a win. You want to celebrate your efforts as opposed to focusing on only the results. Because you might, let's say, reach out to 100 people a day, nobody answers you today. But you still have a win. You still sat down at your computer and reached out to 100 potential customers. And who knows, tomorrow 5 people might answer. Now, if you're like me, you're constantly setting new goals, and when you crush new goals, when you attain new personal records, you're never satisfied. So it might be difficult to celebrate those small daily wins. But if you don't do it, it's a surefire way to go and just burn out and to hate your life. Because I can tell you for a fact that when I never take the time to appreciate what I do, the progress that I make, I never enjoy anything, and life becomes just sour and tasteless. Habit 4. Intense physical training. Most successful entrepreneurs do some kind of physical exercise. And in fact, a study by Tom Corley found out that 76% of millionaires exercise at the very least 30 minutes per day. Working hard is not only going to teach you to push yourself harder, it's going to make you realize that what you thought were your limits are actually not your limits at all. To give you an example, in the gym we see this happen very often. Somebody thinks they're close to their maximum. They think they can't do one more rep, and then it turns out they can do 2, 3, even sometimes 5 more reps than they thought. But the same concept can be applied at work. You might think that you've hit your limit. You reached out to 50 people today, to 50 potential customers, but what prevents you from reaching out to another 20, to another 50? Understand that most of the time, the mind is going to quit before the body does. So exercising will teach you to actually not listen to your mind, to not listen to that little voice who just wants to quit and go right back to a comfortable state. Because if you want to achieve something big, even making $15,000 a month or more than that, understand that most people will never achieve that. So if you do want to achieve it, you have to be ready to do more than most people are willing to do. I personally prefer to exercise before my workday begins. I start the day by crushing a challenge, by doing something difficult. So it creates momentum which is going to carry on throughout the rest of the day. Habit 5. Daily sunlight exposure. Now this one completely changed my life, and it revolutionized my productivity levels. I'm not even kidding when I say this. The thing is that I used to always be tired. I used to even take 2 naps per day at some point because I was literally just so tired. tired. So I tried to do some research on Google. I typed, why am I always tired? But it just told me the basics. Oh, you should eat well, sleep well, take care of yourself, meditate, all that stuff. But the thing is, I already slept 9 to sometimes 10 hours per night. I exercise an hour and a half a day, and overall I eat a very healthy diet. So I was wondering, what's the problem? I even started to think I had sleep apnea. Turns out I did a sleep study, everything's fine. Blood test showed up fine as well, so I didn't understand what was going on. It turns out I wasn't getting nearly enough sunlight exposure on a daily basis. Think about this, for most of us, we have sedentary office jobs, so we spend most of our time indoors, and even when I'm at the gym, I'm inside of a building. It's only really once a week when I go for a run that I get the daily sunlight exposure that I need. So what I started to do is that when I wake up, when I'm eating my breakfast, for around 30 minutes, I'm going to use a light therapy lamp. It's this bright light which is trying to simulate the natural sunlight that you would get by going outside, and it's supposed to improve your mood and to help your body wake up. But of course, it is nothing compared to actually going out there in the sun, which is why when I'm done with my workout, I go outside, and if it's a bright, clear day, the sun is shining, I'm going to stay outside for 5 to 10 minutes. Now, if it's cloudy or raining, I don't feel like staying outside, but I'm still going to stay outside for 10 to 15 minutes. It's going to reset your circadian rhythm. Tell your body that, hey, it's daytime, it's time to be awake, to be full of energy, and to get stuff done. So honestly, if you were like me, you exercise, you eat healthy, you sleep a lot, but you're always tired, please try doing this. It will change your life. Habit number 6, asking for help. Plenty of people do this one mistake. They let their ego prevent them from asking for help. I've seen this happen in literally every aspect of life, whether it be in business, at the gym, or even in relationships. Plenty of people are just afraid to admit that they're vulnerable, that they make mistakes, that they're flawed, that they're not perfection itself. But no one is perfect. We all have something to learn from people. You can learn what to do from somebody who's more successful than you, but you can also learn from somebody who doesn't have the things that you want. You can learn what not to do by looking at them. Chances are, if you see somebody who's obese, you don't want to end up like that. Look at what they do the opposite. If you look at somebody who is broke because they spend their money at the club, they overconsume, they go shopping all the time, look at what they do the opposite. Chances are you'll end up wealthier than they are. So it works both ways. Truth is, successful people are humble enough to accept and to admit that they simply don't know everything. They need other people to learn. Honestly, if when you see somebody richer, more successful than you, or if you want to be in a relationship and you see somebody who is in a relationship, don't be jealous of those people. If you feel some kind of jealousy, it's normal, you're human, it's your competitive instinct. However, realize that if people didn't have more than you, how could you learn from anyone? You'd have to figure out everything on your own, and it's very hard to do. Instead, you can just go and apply the advice of somebody who has the thing that you want. The only reason I've been able to start a profitable online business, especially at such a young age, is because I followed in the footsteps of my mentors. I went out of my way to find people to teach me their secrets. I applied their advice, and here I am today. But none of this would have been possible if I just tried to figure out everything myself. Everything I know today, I learned it in books, by speaking to people, by watching countless YouTube videos, and by taking many online courses. I didn't just invent things. Not to mention that if you learn from others, you'll avoid fatal mistakes that could cost you thousands of dollars or even years of your time. Truth is, if you had a roadmap showing you exactly what you need to do to reach your goals 10 times faster, why would you not follow that roadmap? It would make no sense. And that is exactly why at Consulting Fastlane, we help our members to build profitable online businesses. Our goal is to help as many people as possible to go from 0 to 6 figures a year with their consulting business. Now, if you're a beginner, you want to start your own business, get to $15,000 a month, I have recorded a free video in which I'm going to analyze every popular online business model. Together, we'll take a look at the pros, at the cons, and I'm also going to share with you for completely free the 3-step process that you can use starting today to start your business and to get your first customers. The link is in the description below. Habit number 7, deep downtime. The thing that I failed to realize in the past is that I can't always be productive. No one can, in fact. Trying to always be productive will make you extremely unproductive, believe me. Imagine wanting to build more muscle, but you spend 24 hours a day in the gym. It wouldn't make sense. You wouldn't build any muscle because to build muscle, sure, you need to train hard, but you need to eat the right foods in the right quantities, and you need to rest. When you're working out, you're tearing apart your muscle fibers. They only grow back when you're resting. The same is true with working. If you're constantly working, the quality of your work is going to significantly drop at some point. When we spoke of deep work, we went over the fact that your ability to do deep work is limited during any given day. We're not meant to grind 24/7, and besides, at some point, if you do too much, you'll hit the point of diminishing returns. It's basically when you do more, but you get less results. So essentially, you do more, you work harder, your results are worse. So you need to find the sweet spot. I used to think that there was no point in rest days, so I pushed myself to work and to work and to work. But then I got sick, and I couldn't work for a few days. But guess what? My life, my business didn't collapse. If anything, now I'm making more money and more successful than I was before. So I understand this. this. If you don't know when to stop yourself, life will stop you to teach you that lesson. But when it will, it's not going to be in a pleasant way. And I get it, online you see all those people preaching the hustle culture. You've got to work all the time, long hours and this and that. But this mindset is instilled in us by the school system, by traditional careers, because they say you've got to be there at this hour and you can't leave before this hour, even if your work is done way before that time. So no wonder why most people just waste a bunch of time, because you can't be deeply focused for 8 hours a day. It's physically impossible. And in business, no one cares how hard or how long you work. It might look cool to say that you work 12 hours a day because you grind, you work really hard, but nobody cares. You don't care how long it took me to make this YouTube video. You simply care about the value I'm giving to you. Nothing else matters. In business, the same thing is true. Your customers do not care if you spend 8 hours a day or 4 hours a day working. They simply want results. That's why they're paying you. So if you want to start your own online business, like I said, the link to the free video is in the description below. And with that said, I'm waiting for you on the other side.